Hey, what is up YouTube? This is the TimeWizard here, coming at you guys with a card discussion. Today we're going to be reviewing the new trap card that came out in Dragon Legends, Wiretap. Now this card has slipped under the radar a little bit and has been underestimated, I think, due to the fact that some of the bigger cards that came out in Dragon Legends being Soul Charge, probably the biggest card everyone was raving on about. Some of the other cards that I can think off the top of my head is the Fire and Ice Hands, just because they're good floaters and they're just two great cards that you can really throw into almost any deck and just have an engine going that way. But this card sort of slipped under the radar, and I want to talk about this a little bit. So let's get on to it. So it's a counter trap, so that's already looking pretty good. That's got to mean like, hey, my opponent's not going to have much to respond to this. So what this card does is when a trap is activated, negate the activation. If you do, shuffle that back into their deck. Now, after reading that, that reminds me of two cards off the top of my head. Seven Tools of the Bandit and Dark Bribe. Most people, Dark Bribe, that doesn't even come up on their radar. That's a bit of a scrubbish card, being allowed your opponent to draw one card after you negate a spell or trap. This is just specifically traps, so more or less it's like Seven Tools of the Bandit. Now, Seven Tools of the Bandit is, if you remember, you gotta pay 1,000 life points to negate that. So, there is some cost there. Now, most people will not say that, hey, shuffling card back into my opponent's deck isn't really much of a cost. And I'd have to agree with them. Because most of the time, the card that they end up shuffling back in, they end up drawing, and they usually are pretty pissed about that. Because it's a card they probably didn't want to have to grab again. Things that are great to negate with Wiretap, obviously, Solemn Warning. They pay the 200 life points, and you say, nope, going back in their deck. Even if they do end up drawing it, they still have to set it. And, at that time, you can maybe MST it or, hit it with some other card that pops. But I like this because, like I said, it shuffles back into their deck. Like, I see no issue with giving my opponent back their card. It just secures your plays. You can summon your monsters freely now. Like, you don't really have to worry about too much. Hey, they torrential, Wiretap. They got Solemn Warning, Wiretap it. Even Fiendish Chain. Now, Fiendish Chain, though, I probably wouldn't Wiretap that. I would probably let that sit on the board until I have like an MST or something. That's more or less a card that can be really versatile, and I wouldn't want them having that back. But just like stupid things in general, like if your opponent activates like, I don't know, Trap Stun, and you got some other stuff set on the board, maybe your Torrential, your Compulse or something, and you got this sitting here. Might as well Wiretap it, alright? Because they gotta redraw that card, and even if they do, they are gonna end up having to set that trap once again. And like I said, that's gonna be open to be hit by other cards such as MST and whatnot. But I really am a big fan of this card. For the most part, people that do play Seven Tools of the Bandit or Dark Bribe, I would suggest using this instead. Just because the cost seems much less dramatic than having your opponent draw a card or you having to pay 1,000 life points. Because let's be honest, your life points are really valuable in the game. There's not too many cards that give you a bonus of life points back to you, so you really want to hold on to your life points as much as possible. So that's a bit of my spiel on this. I really like this card. I suggest giving it a try. Possibly you could even side this if you're up against really trap heavy decks. I could see this saving your bacon and maybe some chain burn decks, just like stupid stuff like that. Just, hey, instead of taking that 4,000 damage or whatever from them stacking their chains, and then you activate this on their ass. That's a pretty good feeling, to be honest. So, let me know what you guys think about this card. I'm a big fan of it. Test it out, definitely. But anyway, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.